Yep, hey, it's Ivor. These days, I do most of my training out here on the road with cars, pedestrians, and where I live, a host of wild animals, deer, turkeys, wild boar, coyotes, foxes, you name it. So today, we're going to talk about the gear that I use to try to stay safe on the bike when I'm out training. Let's get it going. Like I said, I do most of my training outside on the road these days, around the cars and people and whatnot. But I choose the roads very carefully based on the amount of traffic, or lack thereof, that I'm likely to see. Today, I've got 2.5 hours at endurance pace, and I'll spend most of that climbing on roads that see very little traffic, just like this one. Just a quick reminder, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon. It'll notify you when I release new content. And drop a comment down below. Let me know how you stay safe on the road. Let's talk about risk. As with anything in life, there is risk in cycling. You could be making all the right decisions. You could have all the best safety gear, and something out of your control happens and nothing you can do about it. Or it could be that, like everyone else, including motorists, you're human and you make a mistake despite your best intentions. What we're talking about here today are the things that you can do to mitigate that risk. To that end, let's talk about the easiest thing that you can take with you on a ride. And you can see it right here on top of my shoulders. You've got one too, and no, I don't mean my helmet, I mean the thing it's trying to protect. Safety is a mentality, and there are a lot of choices that you can make that will make you more visible and, frankly, more human on the road. And one of the biggest things that you can do to stay safe on the road is to signal your intent. Make it very clear what you plan on doing. So if you're going to make a turn, point very obviously in the direction you're going to turn. And yes, I know, if you're going to turn right, technically you're supposed to raise your left hand and point it upward. But I found that just confuses most drivers. So if I'm going to turn right, I just point to the right. And I have found that appealing to humanity has been very successful for me. So I will wave to every driver that is passing by, and I found that when I do, they will give me more space. But how do you know when a driver's coming up behind you? Sometimes it's really windy and things are really loud. Well, there are a lot of ways actually. One of them is sticking off the side of my glasses. I never ride alone, and certainly never train without my mirror. Yeah, you can look over your shoulder or whatever, but it's just easier to glance up and to the left and see what's behind you. Sometimes you don't want to take your eyes off the road. Sometimes you don't want to turn your head if you're going down a descent. If you're in a road where there's a narrow shoulder and cars are moving pretty fast, you want to see what's coming behind you without having to make big bodily adjustments. Mirrors are cheap. There's no excuse not to get one. There are lots of different types. Some people prefer them on their bars. Some people prefer them on their glasses. So what I always say is that mirrors are not cool. They're not pro. They're not aero, but I won't go without one. So I choose to put my mirror on the thing that's already not cool, me, rather than my bike, which I think is pretty cool. Another piece of what I would consider essential safety tech, which is admittedly more expensive than a mirror, is the Garmin Varia radar. This thing is awesome. It sends audio and visual cues to my bike computer to tell me when cars are coming by. And if a car is approaching particularly fast, it really yells at me and gives me an even more aggressive audio cue. So at this point, when my computer makes that beep, I have a Pavlovian response where I just look at my mirror. And when I see a car, I automatically stick out my hand and wave. And like I said, I found that when I do that, I'm afforded a lot more space. Another relatively inexpensive bit of gear that I use when I train or ride always are gloves. Today I'm wearing long finger gloves. It's not crazily hot, and if I'm honest, they're literally the only pair that I had clean. So yeah, another piece of gear you will never catch me riding without are glasses. You don't need anything fancy. Anything will do. You can go to Home Depot and pick up a pair of clear safety glasses. But what's important is that when you're riding along, you want to keep the rocks, debris, bugs, and anything else that might be flying at you at speed out of your eyes. Helmets have become a pretty controversial topic, but you can't convince me not to wear one. I understand the logic and the studies that seem to show, or that purport to show, that wearing helmets either don't increase your safety or that not wearing a helmet is safer, whatever. To those, I would point you to the video where I talk about the difference between correlation and causation. Another choice that requires very little effort is to always let someone know where you're going to be. It can be as simple as telling someone what your route's going to be, or almost all of us have phones at this point that will allow location sharing. Most bike computers will do some sort of location sharing. Or if you're going to be in an area that doesn't have cell phone reception, there are many devices that use satellite technology or GPS to share location. So there are lots of devices that do this. I use the Garmin Inreach, which as you can see is pretty large. I use it because we go off the grid a lot. I do bike packing, camping, and spend a lot of time in areas that just don't have a lot of reception. And this thing has pretty great battery life. It lasts for days, and it will send a dot to anybody you want every 10 minutes to let them know your location. And with that dot, it also gives telemetry. So it gives your speed, direction, and a lot of other important information that people who love you and care about you might want to know. If you just want a device for general riding, they make a much smaller version of this that fits very easily into a bike jersey. But since I mentioned that it's very large and I don't shove it in my pocket, how do I carry it around? In my bar bag by almost there. But Ivor, bar bags aren't cool, I hear you say. Well, to that I would say two things. One, we've already determined that I'm not cool, so I don't care. But two, and crucially, this bar bag is really cool. It's got a side compartment here where I keep my wallet. The front compartment is very easy to access even while you're riding. It's got extra tie-down straps. It's got a mesh compartment over here to put your trash in. It's pretty awesome. And with it, I've got the matching almost there saddlebag where I keep my CO2, tools, extra pump, and dyno plugs. I know there's a ton of stuff I didn't talk about in this video, and this is where I want to hear from you. What do you do to stay safe on the road? What gear do you think is essential? Drop me a comment down below, let me know. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. While you're here though, why not enjoy a descent montage?